Good morning and good evening to all of our participants who may be joining us today on our webinar on enterprise mobility, reaching new heights. My name is Gino Pajwa, and I'm the Chief Client Advocate with Apps Freedom. Also presenting today is Kapil Baumberger, who is our Client Services Manager here at Apps Freedom. In the next 30 to 40 minutes, we will overview the Apps Freedom platform. Many of you have already downloaded the community version, hence the invite to join the webinar to get a complete overview of the platform. And the goal is simple. It's really to introduce, what we see as a very unique approach and solution to enabling mobility across the enterprise. Before we get started, I wanted to just point out one important logistic item, and that is that all of the participants are on mute just to help limit the background noise. If you'd like to ask a question during the session at any time, please feel free to post questions in the question pane, which is right underneath the web screen in the viewer there. So feel free to provide any or input any questions at any time. So as it relates to mobility, I think one slide's important just to set framework. As you know, this is an area that continues to be on the forefront for many organizations, and this is why many are looking for solutions as it relates to enabling mobility across the enterprise. As reported by Gartner just in late 2015s, the number of phones or smart devices continue to grow at an exponential rate. At the enterprise, we're seeing devices per employee continue to grow, and that's from a phone to a tablet or sometimes multiple phones to other handheld devices that may be used in the organization, warehousing, etc., desktop, laptops, computers, etc. The number of enterprise apps continue to outpace the requirements, and especially on the mobility side, we continue to see that the developers that are required to support these type of initiatives continue to outpace the market as well. And so, hence the need for unique solutions. We believe that one strategy, if you will, in addition to traditional approaches, which might be to build from scratch or leverage an attempt to extend existing apps that might be already living and breathing in the organization, is to leverage rapid mobile app development platforms or technologies. This is one similar to front and center for Apps Freedom. The benefits, as we've seen over the years working with our clients who are global 2,000 clients, is we are enabling the mobile applications far faster, requiring less skilled resources and at a lot lower cost and ongoing maintenance. So significant business value can be delivered. Now, most of you have been exposed to the Apps Freedom platform, but for those that may just be seeing it for the first time, essentially the Apps Freedom platform is positioned to create more mission-critical type enterprise applications. These might be high-volume, composite, meaning speaking with many different systems that might be on the back end, including ERP or supply chain or CRM type of applications. So connectivity there, but really focused in on business areas that really are required to have reliable uptime, whether online or offline, to really drive and keep the business moving forward. So these are example of work areas that we tend to focus on with the platform. Now, in terms of just some unique capabilities, what you'll see here in just a few minutes when we move over to the demonstration portion of the webinar, Kapil will be demonstrating and highlighting key features of the platform, but essentially what's unique about it, there's hundreds of features that are included out of the box with the platform. It is a build once and run on multiple devices, and those include mobile or web, wearable applications, and also the Internet of Things. We may, later in the discussions we can talk about examples of those, but those are applications that are connected to devices that are reading information and reporting that information real time back to back office systems. And the other unique capability is that when you build the application once on the Apps Freedom platform, it automatically works across those different form factors, so it doesn't require multiple development efforts. And furthermore, you'll find that's very unique to the Apps Freedom platform, which is actually patent pending, is very unique offline capabilities. We won't have time to cover that in great detail. We could easily spend an hour going through all of those capabilities, but for those that are interested in the very important capability of running apps in a disconnected mode and then having information synchronized when there is connectivity to back office systems, very unique capabilities there. Okay, so what will we see in this real-time demonstration? Essentially, what Kapil will be showing you is key pieces of all of the building blocks that are included within the Apps Freedom platform. And for those of you that have already started this journey of creating application, you know that built into the tool is a process designer where you define your business process, Visio style tool. And then once that's completed, you generate an app with the platform, and then you can leverage a number of tools that are built in to modify or create a UI for your application. The third step is really about integrating to data sources, whether those be a database that you already want to leverage, and or other systems. For example, SAP or Oracle or IBM or Salesforce or Workday, whether they be on-premise applications or in the cloud. There's built-in adapters to connect to those systems. Of course, all apps require and could leverage a workflow to simplify the processes at the mobile devices. So there are tools available for this. And then also built in is the ability to configure, the users of certain applications. You might have some scenarios or processes where the app for the employee may be slightly different than the the manager of the group versus the VP of the group. So you can configure those apps for different users. And then included with the platform, we out of the box, we include a database and a CMS content management type tool where you can store data or photos or videos or electronic signatures, barcode scans, etc., before those are sent back to the back office systems. Included with the platform is also testing harness, so you can test across the device after the app is completed. And then finally, the ability to deploy the application to the users, either in a private store or public store. The platform also includes the ability to monitor the applications, so you can see how those apps are performing within the users. And then also there's a collaboration tool that also supports, the ability to maintain and also sustain applications so that they continue to serve and create value in the organization. So all of this on the left-hand side, the building blocks are really very orchestrated in a way to allow you to build applications of the type that are listed on the right-hand side. And of course, the platform is available. You could actually start in the cloud, so it requires nothing to be loaded at your facilities organization behind the firewall. If you like, or for those companies that prefer on-premise type implementation and deployment, all of it is available to be run behind the firewall. So this is a high-level view of what's encompassed in the platform. What I'd like to do now is we're going to go ahead and turn the presentation over to Kapil, and he'll walk you through some examples and demonstrate some very powerful features of the Apps Freedom platform. So Kapil, if you're ready, we'll go ahead and turn this over to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Gino. So what we'll do in the next 15 to 20 minutes is I'm basically going to walk you through some of the tools in the platform, and as Gino mentioned, start with the process definition, go to the app designer, customize or enhance the UI, and then eventually go into the integration builder so that we can do the backend integration, connect to backend systems and everything. Once that's done, we can come back to the designer and connect the dots so that you get a end-to-end picture on how the app is being built. So I'll basically jump into my demo environment, where I have a couple of demos, and I'm basically going to walk you through all the different development tools. So the first tool that I'll jump into is the process modeler. As Gino mentioned earlier, this is a Visio-like tool. You have container objects, you have standard objects, you can drag and drop them, lay down your business process on how the app is actually going to function on the user device. And in order to lay down the business process, as I mentioned, you can use the standard components or you can make use of some advanced components. We have added these advanced components in the process modeler so that you get a mobile flavor. You can basically give a mobile flavor to your business process. The best example in this particular case would be, let's say, in the process, you might want to make the user do certain actions on a mobile device. Those actions can be as he's updating something, use the device camera, click a picture, attach that picture and send it to your backend enterprise system. So you can make use of all these different advanced components which actually leverage your device-specific features. And in order to use any of these components, be it taking picture or barcode scanning, all you need to do is basically drag and drop them on the canvas area, and then connect it using the arrow. That's pretty much it. And once that is done, your business process will have a step which is basically going to make the users use the camera, do a barcode scan, and use the barcode scanning, for the business requirement, on which the app is being built. Now, this is just step one. Step two is this is where you can take this business process, add additional configuration and customization to it, and then use that configuration and customization to generate and create your actual applications. I'll quickly run through how exactly you can do that. In order to do that, you can basically click on the parent object or the swim lane, go to the properties and say, for this particular role or this particular object, I want to create a new application. Let's say I want to name the app as Work Manager, for example. So I basically set that as Work Manager, hit this set button, and then I go and customize each and every process step that you see here. So the process is basically the same. Right click, go to properties, select the mapping option here, and say I want to create a new page for this particular process step. Let's say I want to name this as order list, for example. And I can basically, select from a wide range of UI components that I can add on to that particular page, which is basically going to pull a list of all the orders from my backend system and show them on the screen. So let's say I want to add a list view, for example. I can add multiple components, or I can, just select one. Once I'm done, I'll basically hit the set button, and my configuration step will be done. So far, we are not connecting to the backend system. That is something that will, come, down the line. But once this is done, all this information will be taken and used in order to generate the app. Similar to what we did for the first process step, you can repeat the action for the subsequent process step. You can generate multiple pages, add multiple UI components to each of the pages, and hit the save button. Once everything is set, that is when you go ahead and hit this generate app button in the menu. Now, what this generate app button is going to do is it's basically going to take all the information and the configuration that we maintained. It's going to take all that configuration, and it's actually going to generate applications for all your devices, starting from your iOS platform to Android, Windows platform, BlackBerry, or even your web browsers. So all your apps will be generated. The apps will be generated for all the devices, smartphones, tablets, or web apps, as I said earlier. And that's when we basically go to the next tool, which is the app designer. So your apps are ready. The pages are ready that we had configured with the UI elements. Your app might not be 100% there. It might be ready somewhere in the range of 30 to 70%, for example, depending on the app complexity and everything. So that's when you go to the next tool, as I mentioned, which is called as the app designer. So if you go in the projects, this is where you'll see, the app name and your different pages that have been created, and then you can click and open each of those pages. Once you are in the app designer, this is where you can customize the pages that have been generated by the process modeler further, so that you can add additional UI components if required. You can customize and change the theme of the UI components and the entire app, for example. These are some of the things that you can pretty easily and quickly do using the app designer. Now, let's say you want to add a couple of UI components on this page. UI components like, let's say, a button or a text input, for example. So what you need to do is, all you need to do is basically drag and drop, that particular UI component. So let's say I dragged and dropped a button. I can drag and drop a, input box. I can drag and drop an input box. I can click on any of these objects that I drag and drop, and basically see the properties sheet over here. One thing to note here is, as I drag and drop all these components on the page, the platform is basically generating the code behind the scenes for me. So I don't have to worry about how the app is being generated, how the code is being generated, or I don't have to have an idea as to how to write a code in order to add my UI components and how to lay them out on the app screen. The platform is basically going to take care of all those things for us. So you can basically select one of the components. As you can see, the property sheet gets updated based on the component that you have selected. So I can come in here, change the title for the button, and let's say I want to change the theme or the color scheme for this particular button. I can do that here. I can very well select a sample icon and basically hit the save button. So the moment I hit the save button, you can see that the color and all the text and everything gets changed pretty quickly. So as I mentioned earlier, I didn't have to write any coding. I didn't have to know any programming language in order to make all these changes. Just drag and drop, use the property sheet over here, customize it, and get it done. So these are all the standard components, typical components like your header, footer, buttons, text inputs, radio buttons, and so on and so forth. You can pretty much use all of these components in the same way. Just drag and drop them, use the property sheet, customize them, change the look and feel and everything. Couple of things to highlight here is, we also have a bunch of advanced components. These are the same advanced components that we saw in the process modeler, which let you make use of your device-specific feature. Let's say you want to capture your current location and plot it on a map. So you can basically use a map component, drag and drop it, and start using it. Or use, camera-specific components like your photo input or barcode scanning, or use a GPS to capture your current geolocation, or use your application on your devices and such. So you can use all of these, or you can also use some of the analytical components in case you want to build an application which is specific to dashboarding, reporting. You want to build apps which show KPIs and charts and stuff like that. So again, the idea is basically the same. You drag and drop all these components, select the component, and basically customize the properties. Once you drag and drop the component, you can select from the different chart types, customize the properties and everything, and get the UI ready. Once the UI is laid down, you can use the test option over here. You can do a preview app right here in the browser window without having to log into your device to test it out. So you can do a quick preview, right here in the tool and test out the flow of the UI and how the UI looks with some sample data and everything. Once that is done, you can also use this assets option. You can upload your CSS, you can upload your themes, start using them right away. These are all the standard CSS and themes that you can use. Any theme that you upload will basically be available as part of the properties dropdown, so that you can select the theme and apply it at an individual component level, or you can basically apply it at the app level. So it basically gives you the option to select how to apply the theme at a component or at app level. Now, once this is done, the other things to highlight in this particular tool, before we jump into integration builder is the default philosophy of Apps Freedom is, you build once, you run everywhere. So what that means is you basically build the app once, and that app is available for you to run on any platform, any device type. Right from an iOS smartphone to an Android tablet to a Windows tablet, or even as a web app. You can basically pick and choose which device you want and start running or rolling out the app on it. Having said this, the platform or the app designer does give you the flexibility where you can pick and choose how you want the UI to appear on a certain platform or on a certain form factor. Now, what I mean by that is, let's say I want to come in here and say I want to generate a different UI for a smartphone where the screen size is smaller, so I want to display some minimal information. So I can come in here, I can basically select the iPhone or let's say Android and hit this plus icon. It's basically going to ask me a confirmation prompt that do you want to customize this page for an Android device. If I click OK, it's basically going to add another branch for Android device where I can customize how the page looks for an Android device. So I can pick and choose the device type, the form factor, start customizing my pages, and from then on, whenever the app is actually deployed and rendered on an Android device, it will have its own customized UI. In short, the platform gives you the flexibility where you can have a consistent UI across all your devices, or you can pick and choose where you want to have a customized UI for a particular form factor. So far what we saw is, we saw the process modeler where you came in, you defined the business process, generated the app out of that business process. Then we came to the app designer where we actually, saw what are the different options that you can use in order to customize the UI, change the theme, templates, or add any additional UI components. The last piece of the puzzle is basically where we go to the integration builder and show how to connect to various backend systems. So let me jump to the integration builder quickly and walk you through what exactly you can do using the integration builder. So this is the integration builder tool. Now, what you build using the integration builder is a business object service, or a BOS as we call it. Now, in order to build a business object service, you can make use of all these logical components. You can basically write your business rules logic. You can do if-else condition. You can loop over your tabular data and parse the records and so on and so forth. There are a couple of utilities where you can do lookup, sorts. You can parse any file that you read and so on and so forth. Now, excuse me. Now, using the logical action blocks and the utilities, you can basically write your business rules and logic, and you can make use of the other action blocks or the other action groups in order to connect to various backend system. So as you can see here, I expanded one of the action groups which belongs to the SAP action blocks. So here, we have built-in adapters which let us talk to SAP system for that matter. So I can use these action blocks, drag and drop them, connect to my SAP system, read data from SAP, or post data to the backend SAP system. If you don't have SAP in your landscape, if you have custom homegrown applications or any applications which are exposed as web services, you can very well use the web service adapter and connect, using web services. So you can connect using REST API calls, or you can connect using a SOAP or WSDL-based web service. We also have a built-in database adapter, so you can connect to all your database systems like Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, MySQL, DB2, or any other JDBC compliant database. You can basically read data from your tables, your views, access stored procedures, and so on and so forth. One of the components, Gino mentioned in his slide deck was, the Freedom database. So this is a relational database that you get along with the platform, that you can use. This adapter basically lets you connect to that particular Freedom database where you can create your own tables and access all those tables right here. Just example of cloud-based adapter. So this is a Salesforce adapter which connects to a cloud-based Salesforce system, where you can actually have access to your sales data, accounts, contacts, and opportunities, and so on and so forth. You can also send notifications. You can send email-based notifications using your company email address, based on certain events, or you can send push notifications to your end-user devices. Again, be it iOS, Android, or any other device for that matter. Another adapter built in is the Freedom Drive. This is a component that comes built in along with the platform, which let you store all your documents. It's like a CMS tool, so you can upload all your documents, PDFs, and everything, and you can basically access them through your mobile devices through this adapter. You can read files and process files from FTP as well using this adapter. Now, in order to use any of the action blocks, the idea is pretty straight and simple. You can basically select any of the existing action blocks, drag and drop it on the screen. Let's say it's a database table, for example. So you have access to all these database tables. You can basically select one of the existing tables, or you can come in here and you can start writing your own select query in order to read data from that database table. So once you select the database table, it's going to provide you a list of all the different inputs. Basically, these are all the columns of the table that you can use in order to use them as filter criteria. Again, in order to do mapping, it's pretty straight and simple. You can basically drag and drop them and hit the add button, and that basically does the mapping for you. When you're trying to do the mapping, you can very well use some of these operators in order to split the actual information, or perform any other action that you might want to when you actually perform the mapping. Once all this is done, your basically service is ready. You can basically perform a similar output mapping so that your service inputs and outputs are well defined, and they receive data from the UI, call or go through this logic that you have designed over here, make calls to your backend system, read data or post data to the backend systems, and get data back and send as output to this service. So once this is done, you can use the test option right here and test out the service right here. In order to test it out, you can actually use all the different input parameters and test it out. and make sure that the service is completely valid. Once that's done, your backend integration is completed. That's when you can quickly go back to the app designer and use this data mapping option. Let me select that's when you can quickly go back to the app designer, use the data mapping option, and map the input outputs of the service to the different UI components that you see on the page. So this is the service that you can see, and these are some of the inputs for the service. What you can basically do is you can come in here and you can select some of the different UI components. You can perform the mapping right here. You can select components, and it's basically going to present you a list of all the different UI components. So you can come in here, as I mentioned, you can select all these components and hit the save button. So this basically completes the end-to-end cycle from business process definition to UI enhancement to backend integration and coming back and connecting the dots. So what I'll do next is I'll jump into one of the sample apps that I have on my device, which is on the same line. So this is the same work order app, and show that show an existing app running on the device, just to get a idea on how the app looks on the device, how the device specific features work on in the device and such. So let me jump into my device. All right, so let me open up the app. So once I open up the app, you can customize all the splash screen and everything. You can basically have to provide your user ID password so that you can log in. Let me go and open up the app. Perfect. So this is my app. I basically get a list of all the work orders, from my backend system. Here, the backend system can be any system. It can be a SAP system. It can be a database system, or any other ERP system for that matter. I can go through the various tabs and view all the information. Just go through operations and components and view all the information. If there are any attachments which are images or PDFs or Word document, I can very well pull all of them from my backend system and show them on the screen, and basically have a view of all those documents here. So these are some of the things. What I'll do is I'll hit the plus icon, which opens up the create work order screen. I won't go through the entire creation process, but a couple of things that I'll highlight from a device specific feature usage. So I'll go to the components page, where you can see that I have a couple of options. One is I can use the device camera, use the camera, click a picture, attach that picture, and send it to the backend system, or I can do a barcode scanning by using the camera. So when I hit the take a photo option, it gives me basically two options. Choose a picture from my photo gallery, or use the camera and click a picture. So I can quickly hit the photo option. So it basically starts, the camera. I can click on it, use a photo, and it basically takes that photo, uploads it to my backend system, and attaches this picture as an attachment and sends it to my backend system. So these are some of the things that I wanted to highlight, which basically gives me the capability, to design the UI and the app, based on my need and requirement. Use my device-specific features like camera, barcode scanning, and incorporate them in my app so that it is part of the app feature, and I can use all those features in order to process through the functionality of the app. I hope this gives you a fair idea about the different tools and technologies in the platform, on how you can leverage all these features and develop all the apps. I'll hand it over back to Gino so that he can take it forward with the rest of the webinar.
Thanks, Kapil. Well, this is a very quick, brief highlight of the platform, and I hope this showcased a number of the features that are available. Obviously, there's a lot there. that can support a number of different use cases and implementations. I wanted to address a couple of questions that we had come in from the participants before we wrap the session. First question was from a software service provider asking about the ability to leverage a platform to build services that other organizations can subscribe to. So the answer is absolutely. We have opened up, the ability to leverage the platform for those use cases. We'd love to hear what your ideas are, and should you leverage the platform to create services that other companies can use and benefit from. We're happy to discuss, how to make those available and how to provide maintenance and support for those type of services. So please feel free to email us back, and we will engage with you and look for an opportunity to see if we can create a partnership on that front. The other question that we had come in had to do with pricing. The question was specific to the platform and services and connectors, if you will. So essentially, what we've done to make it simple for prospects, clients that are looking to leverage the platform. Today, what we've done is it made the platform all-encompassing, meaning that depending upon your use case, should you require, because you're interested in developing and building apps on your own, and you need the platform and the connectors and adapters and additional functions that Kapil demonstrated, all of that is available at one price. There's 3 different scenarios depending upon the size of organization and how you're looking to leverage the tool, but we made it very easy to engage. So there's one price for the platform, which includes all the connectors and all of the other functions, including offline. That was one of the other questions here. Then there is a per user fee for unlimited apps. So should your company need to develop, 1 or 50 apps to provide to your organization per employee, there is no additional cost. So we've really simplified that for you as well. If you have other use cases where there's a device-specific pricing or location type pricing, we can work with you on that as well. There is flexibility depending upon the use case. One other question here had to do with the ability for apps freedom to help accelerate by creating the apps. We do also provide services. So there's, if you have a scenario where you would like us to accelerate the design and development of an app and provide that to you, and you don't have to worry about managing the platform, creating integration, integrating, etc. We can assist you with that as well. So feel free to, should you have that scenario, to engage with us, and there's a number of different approaches for that. First, for those that are interested and already downloaded the community version of the platform, there's a couple different ways to engage. One is that we're happy to look at your use case and provide some guidance and assistance. We also have a promotion around assisting you with a first pilot app, where we're willing to leverage a number of templates or perhaps existing apps that were already created, and make those available for your first initial app that you may want to pilot internally to, proof of concept type approach. So that's an additional way for you to get started. There was a question that also came in around, UI design. We also provide those services and work with partners to accommodate, the look and feel of the apps. Most of the apps that are developed are, the guidelines for those are set by the clients in terms of, what they want those to look and feel like. So we typically have to follow those guidelines, but we also can offer up design services as well. And then we also can support any type of workshop. So if you're looking to in-house sponsor an event to help you organized around, how to move forward with, one or more type of applications, whether it be mobile or web or offline or wearable, we can, meet with you and team members to help pull together that data and get that organized so that you have a specification, if you will, on what is to be developed. So, in any event, those are different ways to engage. We appreciate your initial first step. For those of you that have already signed up for access to the community edition, if you have not done that, feel free to log in and or just send us an email. Perhaps you want to save some time and not start with community, and if you can share with us those details, what your ideas are, what your vision is, we're happy to help look for ways to get you started. Best way to contact us is to just reach out to info@appsfreedom.com, or you could ring us at our toll-free number as listed below. Feel free also to leverage any of the tools that are available on the website. There is a plethora of content available, both business and technical, that should provide some insight, and we're happy to help at any time. So once again, on behalf of the Apps Freedom team, we appreciate you spending your time with us this morning and look forward to engaging and working with you moving forward. Have a great day.